Complex rules are often required to be executed as part of the Canvas Power App, and North52's business rules engine for Microsoft Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform is a perfect partner for this scenario. In this video, we'll show you how you can calculate a heart disease risk score as part of a Canvas Power App using the following components: a Canvas Power App, a global action, and the North52 business rules engine. Although the North52 solution is installed in Microsoft Dataverse, we will not be saving any data in Dataverse as part of the calculation. This shows how North52 can be used for stateless processing. Let's first see the Canvas Power App in action and then review the components. We select the options on the app and click the Calculate Risk button. The North52 business rules assess the information and return results. We can see that we have a high risk for these specific risk areas. To make this work, we first need to create a global action which has two parameters: an input defined as payload in risk parameters JSON and an output defined as payload out risk results JSON. We then bind this action to a North52 formula, and decision logic is based on the information passed from the Canvas app. The first decision sheet determines whether there is a smoke risk based on any of the three criteria being met. The values for these criteria are extracted from the JSON data provided from the Canvas app. We do this on the global calculations sheet where values from the payload in risk parameters JSON input parameter are mapped so that they can easily be referenced in the decision sheets. Firstly, the payload in risk parameters JSON input parameter is assigned to the North52 internal variable called response content. Then the individual values are assigned. For example, current smoker is assigned on row 4. All these values are used on the decision sheets to determine risk for each category. We won't dwell on the individual logic for each sheet, but instead focus on the risk score sheet, which determines the risk and associated messages. Column J is an incremental inline calculation, which is adding a value of 1 for each risk matched, and subtracting 1 in the case of the HDL mitigating factor. Column K is an inline calculation that calls a parameterized global action. Cell K4 shows the build JSON global action, with the first parameter having the text smoke risk, and the second parameter with the text the patient has a smoke risk. On the global action sheet, we can see the build JSON action defined to append each message to an array, the risk type and message properties being set by information passed in as parameters, replacing the 0 and 1 within the curly brackets. An example of the output would look like this. The next part to look at is the Canvas app and how the calculation is called and the results displayed. There are two important parts to review: the onSelect property of a button to collect the values and submit them to the custom action, and the data table which shows the messages that have been returned as part of the JSON response. Let's look at the detail of the onSelect property. The values from many input objects are collated in a collection called formula data. This formula data collection is passed to the custom action as JSON using the environment language object. The custom action triggers the North52 formula and returns the results as JSON, which is stored in the payload out risk results JSON variable. We then parse the JSON to set the risk score variable. And finally, we parse the JSON and add the risk messages array to a collection called risk messages. This data table is shown using the risk messages collection. It shows the risk type and associated message for each risk identified. If you'd like to know more, please review the associated article on our support portal and get in touch to see how we can help you with your complex business rules requirements in the Dynamics platform. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.